Welcome everyone. We're going to officially kick off this webinar. Once again, my name is Evan and I'm the undergraduate recruiter for the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences here at Simon Fraser University. If you are joining us here for this webinar, that means I owe you a big congratulations as you all have been admitted for the spring 2026 start or the January term of entry for our faculty. Over this next webinar, which should be about 40 minutes to 50 minutes, we'll be covering some of the highlights and things you can look forward to once you start in January. We'll have a session with one of our amazing academic advisors to go over course registration, and you'll be able to hear from a couple of our current upper year Faculty of Arts and Social Science students. Without further ado, I would like to begin with a territorial acknowledgement. As much of the work we do at Simon Fraser University across our various campuses takes place on the traditional land of Indigenous people here in Canada. That includes communities of Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, Squamish, Musqueam, Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Kaikate, and Tsawwassen. As an institution that occupies these areas, we are in active reconciliation, and I'm very proud to work with my colleagues through the Office of Indigenous Admissions and Recruitment to help decrease barriers to education. If you do have further questions about our pathways, outreach, and financial aid for Indigenous students, please feel free to email me afterwards. I would love to connect you with my colleagues through the IRA. As mentioned before, this is a recorded webinar, so just as a privacy statement, please know that this is not a publicly released presentation, but it will be available for those invited attendees who were not able to stay for the whole session or could not attend overall, and they will be listed solely unlisted on our YouTube account. If you are unable to stay and would like the recording or would like to request it as a refresher for notes, please feel free to email us afterwards at fastcom@sfu.ca to receive the recording. Diving into the next step in your journey, there's many things to be excited about joining the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at SFU. First off, we are top 5 in Canada for arts, humanities, and social sciences. As well, we are ranked #1 comprehensive university in Canada. Essentially, what that means is that we have the variety of courses, hands-on learning experiences, and opportunities to provide top-notch education. I'll go over the plethora of academic programs and classes that we have to offer, but in all of them, you'll see a string of innovation, as we were named Canada's #1 innovative university, meaning that in amazing labs, in new research centers, and just in our own methods of teaching, we have great innovative methods, alongside a huge campus that sprawls across 3 different sites, leading in climate action and sustainable cities and communities. As I was just alluding to, many are familiar with SFU through our Burnaby campus. That is located on Burnaby Mountain, but SFU is one university across 3 campuses. Located at our Surrey campus, very conveniently located near the Surrey Central Station, students can find access to what's called Surrey 1, which is a common first-year cohort program that students can check out if they live by Surrey. It is also going to be home to 2 new exciting groups. We have our new minor in Medical Humanities and Social Sciences, and our soon-to-open School of Medicine. Similarly, Vancouver campus is also home to a couple of our programs and faculties. In the Vancouver campus, for the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, you'll be able to find our public policy, gerontology, international studies, and urban studies programs. Vancouver campus is located very neatly in Harbour Centre, just a few minutes walk away from all of the downtown amenities. No matter which campus you're going to for classes, student activities, or advising, you'll be able to find great supports and lots of fun things to do. And when it comes to academics, there truly is limitless options. Within the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, we have the widest variety for you to choose from. As of fall 2026, we will have 22 majors and 28 minors. That leads to over 150 different academic combinations. So we like to say that no matter what your academic or career pursuits are, we'll be able to help tailor a pathway that suits your needs. You can see the wide variety of lists on the left side of the screen right now that covers global issues, history, languages, and media, and so much more. Because here in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, we believe that you should pursue your passions, because that will help you succeed in your academics and help you provide new opportunities and new doors to open to a career that you'll love. Within the 22 majors that we have, there's different ways that you can combine them. Students can often do double majors, add on a minor alongside your major, or even do a whole degree with extended minors or multiple minors. And students aren't limited just to the courses and offerings within our faculty. Students within the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences can also take courses through the various different faculties. Students often combine different programs like health sciences with our new medical humanities and social sciences, or our economics minor with a major in BD. So truly, the world is your oyster, and we love to encourage flexibility in all of our studies. In terms of the flexibility, that is encouraged with our first year entry, meaning that whether you are coming directly from high school or you are a college or university transfer, you will be an undeclared arts student when you first arrive at SFU. That doesn't mean that you're starting right from square one if you're a transfer student. You'll still be able to likely get transfer credits from your previous college or university. But what it means is that you are free to explore the wide variety of courses. You're not pigeonholed into one major with specific required courses just yet. We encourage students to try a little bit of everything and find what they enjoy before typically declaring a major in their second year or further. To talk more about how selecting those courses and declaring those majors works, I'll now invite my colleague Claudia to talk a little bit about academic advising.
Thanks so much, Evan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're now going to get into the academic advising section for today's webinar. So my name is Claudia Hart. I am one of the academic advisors here in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. I'm also a proud SFU grad. I went here and studied here as well, so SFU is near and dear to my heart. Myself and my amazing colleagues you'll see on the screen right now, as advisors, we're here to help you in your SFU journey. We can help you explore and plan for various programs that you wish to complete in your degree. We can help refer you to different campus resources that can help enrich your university experience. Also, as advisors, we are here just along the way to support you in your academic journey and also encourage your involvement outside of the classroom. So you'll hear from our student panelists later on about some of these amazing opportunities, such as getting involved with mentorship or various volunteer work on campus. Thanks, Evan. So how to connect with us? A couple different ways. As Evan mentioned, we're mainly located on the Burnaby campus. That's where I'm coming to you live tonight from in our office called Art Central. So we are across from Images Theater, which I'm sure many of you will have lectures in soon enough. Our room number is AQ 3020. We have drop-in advising where you can come in. It's first come, first serve, both online and in person. So some of our advisors do work remotely some days, so their drop-in is through Zoom those times, Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11:30. And then we also offer bookable appointments. So those are available in the afternoons, Monday to Thursday as well. And you can always look to send us an email if you have questions or are struggling to book an appointment or find a time. We're here to help you and find something that works for you. My colleague Rose works out of the Surrey campus, and as you can see as well, she has some bookable appointment hours Monday to Friday, and you can always also send her an email to look to book. So I'm sure what many of us are here for tonight is to figure out how to enroll into courses and plan out our degree. So there's a couple resources I want to go through tonight that can help you with your enrollment. So the first one is your advising transcript. So we can see on the screen here our wonderful friend Simon Fraser FASS, and their transcript. This is the document that we use every day for advising for our students to check your degree progress. You can also download this document through Go SFU yourself. So a couple important sections I want to look at. With that first arrow you'll see is your enrollment date. I'm sure many of us got an email in the last couple of days, I believe, with your enrollment date for November to enroll in courses for the spring term coming up. I just want to reiterate, it's a great idea to put that in your calendar, set a reminder, so then come your enrollment date and time, all you have to do is click a couple buttons and enroll into your courses. The next section I want to point out to you are the transfer courses section. So, two courses that I'm going to get into a little bit more detail on the next slide are called FAL and FAN X99. So these are transfer courses that can either come from perhaps some high school grades, and I will explain this in detail, or perhaps maybe some other post-secondary courses. So one thing just to note that we always look for on your transcript. And then also in this transfer courses section, for some of us here on the call tonight, might be transferring in from perhaps Douglas or Kwantlen or Capilano. This is where that transfer credit, we would see the specific courses that you took and what credit you received for them. Next slide. Oh, and it's just going to jump and I'll explain these FAN and FAL courses. So FAL X99. I mentioned these and we don't really know what Claudia's saying right now, so let me break it down for you. FAL stands for the Foundations of Academic Literacy. So these are foundational courses that we have in place for students to take both writing intensive courses, such as Econ 220W, and then as well FAN X99, you need that to be able to enroll into quantitative courses. So if we don't see FAL or FAN X99 on our advising transcripts, nothing to worry about. There's some ways that we can obtain this both outside of SFU and within SFU. For FAL to start, to obtain it outside of SFU, we would need, or we could look to upgrade our high school English 12 grade. We need a minimum 75% in English 12. If we transferred in a course from another institution that's a writing intensive course or an English course, we would need a minimum C- grade in that. Or there is also the IELTS academic exam that you can take with minimum 7.0 scores with no section less than 6.5. You also can look to take the FAL X99 course here at SFU. It is graded on a pass-fail basis, so you would need a passing letter grade to obtain the designation, and the units from that course will go towards your degree. So it's often a great option for students who don't have that foundation yet there. They can obtain it, do it here at SFU, and receive 4 units from the course. With FAN X99, that's looking at some math courses. So we're looking at your math 11 or 12 from high school, looking for a 70% or higher, or perhaps a transfer quantitative course with a minimum C- grade. You can also complete the FAN X99 course once again here at SFU. We are needing a minimum C letter grade. And just like FAL, the units will go towards your degree. And for this course, the grade is included in your cumulative GPA, so your grade point average. There also is what's called the Q placement test. It is just currently unavailable through our math department, so not currently an option for us. And like I mentioned, we do need these courses to be able to enroll into writing and quantitative courses, which are courses that we need to take throughout our degree. And the rule is with these foundations courses, if we do not come into SFU without them or with them, we need to obtain it within our first 3 enrolled terms. The rule with that is within our first 3 enrolled terms, if we do not obtain these designations, then we will be hard blocked from enrollment and unable to enroll in courses until we obtain it. 7. So, as I've sort of gotten into our degree planning, for our degree here at SFU, we need to complete 120 units to graduate. And these are just 2 examples of how those units can be broken down. So within our faculty, you can look to obtain 1 major, or you could look to pursue 2 minors, where one of the minors has to be in the Faculty of Arts. These are just some examples of how the units can be broken up. So specifically with the major, let's say you want to pursue a psychology major. That would mean about 60 units would be specific to psych courses. The other 60 units are going to be elective courses and some writing, quantitative, and breadth courses. If you're wishing to pursue 2 minors, same thing. We're going to have about 60 units of electives and then 30 units for each of those minors. Like I mentioned, this is just an example. And, like Evan mentioned on a previous slide, there are almost endless options that we can pursue to obtain our major. And the 120 units you complete for your degree could be completely different from what I did, could be completely different from what Evan would want to pursue. For example, I did a joint major in business and psychology and a minor in education. So I pursued subjects in three different faculties to kind of make up my pie of a degree, if we want to call it that. Thanks, Evan. So next, as Evan mentioned, we come into FASS as undeclared students. So for some of us, we may be actually near the point of declaring based on having some transfer units come in. So there's sort of some steps that we want to look at. First step is to check the academic calendar for internal transfer and program declaration requirements, and then check over those required courses and any grade requirements. And that can be something that we as advisors go through with you and check off and see what you still need to do. After that, our next step is to check the departmental website for details on how to declare. So perhaps you need to fill out an online form or email the departmental advisor. And then lastly, it's submitting your declaration request to be formally declared in a major or other program. 7. So this is just one example of what you can find on the academic calendar for the criminology major of the program declaration requirements. It'll outline the specific courses you need, any GPA, any grade requirements you may need, and this is found on the academic calendar. And then this screenshot here is found on our FAST advising website. We have a page that shows declaration requirements for all of our different programs here in FAST. So by clicking the drop down for criminology, it's going to outline what you need for the major and the minor and who to contact to do so, to declare. All right, this is probably what is top of mind for everyone, is actually preparing for our enrollment date. So we'll get into that next. So a couple more resources for us. The first, as I've mentioned, the SFU calendar. So the academic calendar is going to become your best friend over the next couple years. It is published every single term, so it's important that you're referencing the right calendar. So we're now going to be looking at spring 2026. There are two main sections I want us to focus on today. If we can see in the green here, the first one being academic programs. That is where you can find all of the specific requirements for the program that you're interested in. So like I mentioned on the previous slide, criminology, you could click on programs, go down to criminology, and then that's where you can find all the specific requirements you need to complete a criminology major, a minor, or perhaps a certificate or something else. You could do the same for psychology, for global humanities, so on and so forth. The other section that's really important is to look at the All Courses tab. So this section can show you all of the course offerings from each department here at SFU. You are allowed to take courses in any faculty as long as you meet the prerequisites for them. So I really encourage you to explore some different subject areas. When I was a student and, in my first couple terms, looking for some electives, looking for some things to try out, I read through different subject areas that, I may not have known much about or wanted to learn more. This is a nice kind of grand resource of a list of many different offerings that we have here at SFU. So another important section when you're preparing for enrollment is to review the course outlines for a course that you're interested in. So from the previous slide, if we're on the academic calendar, we look at a course, we find the course Crim 101. Okay, let's read through the course outline. There's going to be some important things to take note on that. First, probably you want to know when the course is offered, what day, what time, to figure out your schedule. You can find information of the professor who's teaching the course, their contact information. You can also see on a course outline if there's any prerequisites in place. So if there's any courses or perhaps the number of units that you need to be able to take that course. You can also get a good idea of just some more detail and description of what the course is about. So you can get an idea of what you're going to learn in the course. And then also what many of us probably want to know is, how am I going to be graded in this course? Is it more midterms and exams? Is it more assignments, quizzes? That's something that we can use, is the grading scale, to see, I'm more someone who prefers, say, assignments and papers over midterms, tests, exams. well, maybe that's a way for me to decide what courses might be the best fit for me. As well, it'll also show you, any materials you may need, such as textbooks, various readings. And this website here, or if you look up SFU course outlines, you can plug in any courses that you're interested in and find all the information there. This next link is a super important one that I recommend all my students to bookmark on their device. So our dates and deadlines page, once again, it gets updated for every single term, and it's a really important one to pay attention to. As you can see on the slide here, there's a couple different drop-down tabs that you would look at. It's important to pay attention to these each term because if we're thinking about perhaps, adding a class, dropping a class, swapping a class, there's certain deadlines that are in place to be able to do this. And we want to make sure we're, keeping in line with deadlines when it comes to tuition refund if we're wishing to drop a course, or just when we're able to continue adding courses to our schedule, or whether we need department permission to be added to a course. It also is where you can find the tuition payment deadline and any other course drop penalties. So if you always look up SFU dates and deadlines, you'll find it right away. This next page is going to be how we actually enroll into courses. So there's kind of two resources that students use, either My Schedule, which is on the right-hand side here, or the Search for Classes button through GoSFU. I really like to reiterate to my students that it's really important to have backup course plans. So the nice thing with these tools is on My Schedule, you can create kind of favorite course listings and course schedules and save them. So you can always go back and maybe you're not able to get into a specific course, but you have a backup in mind. Just want to, emphasize to everyone, just make sure that you've activated your computing ID ahead of enrollment. And like I mentioned, My Schedule can help map out a couple different schedule options and save them. So when it comes to your enrollment date, you just click a couple buttons and hopefully we get enrolled into everything. I really recommend students to just kind of go on My Schedule and get familiar with it, play around with it, just so we have an idea of kind of how the system works. There also will be some help videos that I'll talk about in a second here that I recommend you to view just to get familiar with our various systems that we have. So like I mentioned, some help videos. If you, once again, I'm just emphasizing our Google search engine to look up SFU help videos. There's a bunch of good ones on here about how to add classes, how to drop classes, how to set up and pay for our tuition. That's something that we get a lot of questions about. And you can watch these help videos and it'll outline exactly how to do it for you. And you can always get in touch with our registrar's office if there's any issues that you're facing, or get in touch with us as advisors and we can always point you in the right direction. Okay, I just have a couple more things. So sometimes, unfortunately, errors come up when we're trying to enroll in courses. So I like to just give a little bit of a disclaimer to, so you have an idea of what could happen. The first one you might see potentially is a time conflict. So you're not able to enroll into two courses that are at the same time, obviously. And sometimes students, have a course that they're on the wait list for, but it would actually conflict with another course that they're enrolled in. So we want to make sure our schedule is staying open, that if we were to be added, we're able to get into everything. There also are times that we're not able to be added to a course because they're reserved seats for students declared in specific programs. So like I mentioned earlier, we are coming into FASS as undeclared students, and many of our programs have a certain number of seats in their courses reserved for the students that are declared. That is okay. There still are seats often available for students undeclared, but you just may not get enrolled into the course right away, that means. There are obviously some times too that perhaps we don't have the prerequisites met, like I mentioned with FAL or FAN, or maybe some other grade 12 course requirements. Sometimes with our math courses, we need certain grades. And then there's sometimes prerequisites where we need a certain number of units or a course that we have not yet completed. And one more thing to remind you of is to check your student center ahead of your enrollment just to make sure there's no holds on your account. There's a specific section on your student center on the right-hand side by your to-do list called holds. And sometimes students have, a balance remaining that they need to pay off or some documents they need to upload, like a citizenship verification. And if you have any holds on your account, you won't be able to enroll. So we just want to do a double check before enrollment to make sure everything is smooth and ready to go. Okay, and I sort of touched on waitlists quickly there, but we're going to get into it in depth right now. When it comes to waitlists for courses, we can only be waitlisted for a maximum of 8 units. So that's going to be 2 courses. So as much as I would want everyone to have all the availability, we can only keep 2 courses waitlisted in kind of our cart there. Courses obviously can get full. So I recommend students that I mentioned how to get in touch with us. Sometimes our appointments, we get really busy and we're full. If you're not able to come in and speak with an advisor before your enrollment date, I still encourage you to enroll in some courses. Get a seat in some classes, check the academic calendar, do a little bit of a self-progress check, and then come and see us as soon as you can. We can go over it and check through what you enrolled in and see if there's any other options available, but I want you to try and get a seat in some classes because they can fill up. When you enroll into courses, there's often a box that says waitlist if class is full. I highly recommend we select that box just to give ourselves a chance to enroll. And another area is when it comes to waitlists, um, if you are waitlisted for one component of the course, for example, the tutorial or the lab, you will be waitlisted for all the components. So the tutorial, the lab, or the lecture. Okay, so what I recommend for students is to look for tutorial sections that have less students on the waitlist or perhaps still have seats in them. Because if we get enrolled into a tutorial, boom, we're automatically going to be in the lecture. But sometimes we prefer one tutorial or the other. That is totally fine. We would just be on the waitlist for that time. Okay? Like I mentioned earlier, just make sure we don't have any conflicts in our time schedule because perhaps we're enrolled in a course Monday at 2:30 and we have another course on our waitlist also at Monday at 2:30. If we get off the wait list, the system would not let us enroll because it would be blocked by our other course. So monitor where you're at on the wait list. And if you think you're, maybe spot number 1, that's kind of a signal of things are looking good. Maybe I'll drop my other course and hopefully get into the other Monday class. Okay. Always check out the SFU help videos if you have any other questions. And that is all from me from the advising front.
Thank you so much, Claudia. For anyone who has further questions for our wonderful academic advisor, we're going to have the last probably 10 to 15 minutes of today's webinar for some open Q&A. So feel free to use the Q&A function at the bottom toolbar of the Zoom call here to put your Q&As, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you can't see it at the bottom, also check under the More function there as well. But thank you so much. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about what it actually means to be working and learning at the campuses at SFU. Because we are one of the largest faculties at Simon Fraser University, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences also has a teaming community. So from grad students, professors, and of course your fellow undergraduate students, there's lots of people so excited to see you join our campus. There's specifically a few events I'd love to highlight. First off is Welcome Week. So Welcome Week is essentially going to be a week where there's various activities, club fairs, etc., happening across campus. So you won't want to miss it. It'll be every day that first week of the January term. So it'll be starting on Monday the 5th until the 9th. You'll probably get some free swag, some free snacks. So make sure, even if you don't have classes every day, it's worth checking it out to make sure that you're able to adjust the campus, find your way around to your classes, and also just learn about what's going on. Specifically within the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, you'll be able to check out our setup and sort of giveaways outside of Art Central. So Art Central is that space that Claudia mentioned where you can not only meet academic advisors, but also we'll have drop-in co-op sessions, and you'll see January 5th onwards, lots of fun activities. So Art Central is a space students can come to study, they can come hang out with friends, or in this case, check out some cool events. Typically in Welcome Week, we'll have free popcorn coming outside so you can follow your nose to Art Central, but it's located in the academic quadrangle 3020, as Claudia mentioned. We'll also have a prize wheel, and you can meet some of our mentors. So the mentors, or part of the FASS peer mentorship program, is something that I highly encourage all of you to sign up for. We understand that the transition to university, whether you're coming directly from college, maybe a gap year, or from a different institution, can be a huge change. So that's why we have a great team of upper year FASS students there to help guide you. You do need to opt in and fill in the form, but it is free of charge to get paired with one of our peer mentors. They'll be able to help guide you around campus. They'll be great people to ask for favorite places on campus to study, places to eat, and also it is a just welcoming and inviting face that you can be your first friend on campus if you're new to SFU or even just Burnaby campus as well. So I do encourage that. That should be open on our website to sign up for the FAST Peer Mentorship Program as of this week, and encourage you to fill that form out before the end of the year so that you'll be able to get paired up with someone in time for the start of the term. But as you can see, the FAST Peer Mentors host a variety of fun things, not just in Welcome Week, but throughout the entire year. They're able to organize ice skating, paint nights, movie nights, and just this past week, they had a karaoke night outside of Art Central. So lots of great things to look forward to. And to speak a little bit more about their own personal experiences, I'll now invite two of our current FAST students, Nava and Y, onto the webinar to learn more about their own personal journeys. So thank you both so much for coming on. Please, just to start off, would you mind introducing yourself and also sharing why you chose the major that you're in?
Hi, everyone. Welcome and congratulations on your acceptance to SFU. My name is Nava. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm completing a double major in English honors and philosophy honors and a minor in social data analytics. And I chose my program. My program's a little bit crazy, just a bunch of random stuff. So I'd be happy to answer more questions about what that process was like. But I was always drawn to kind of the humanities broadly, and I loved reading and writing in high school. And so I came in as an intended English major, but then I took a philosophy elective and realized that I love it just as much. So I was like, can I please do both of these? And then I was going through my time, enjoying my two majors. And then I heard about this new minor, and I was like, it would be probably very useful to learn how to code a little bit and understand data. So I tacked that one on too. So the great thing about FASS is how flexible it is, and you can really customize your program. So I'm excited to chat more with you guys.
Great, thanks, Nava. As she said, congratulations, everybody, on your acceptance into SFU. My name is Waidera. Most people call me Y, and I'm a psychology major, hoping and possibly considering minoring in education, specifically counseling and human development. Yeah, and my pronouns are she, her. The reason that I chose psychology is I took an AP psychology course in high school. I had never taken psychology before. I'd not even like really known what it was about. And I went into that class and I was like, oh, this seems like a little bit of me. And I was just super involved, super intrigued by the class. And so I decided to just pursue that. In university, I consider myself to be a people person. I really love talking and connecting with people. And so chatting with like-minded people in my psych courses has been super rewarding. I know especially how the mental health scene affects people's lives, and I'd love to be a part of the scene that helps folks. Specifically, I want to get into clinical psychology. So yeah, after taking that class in high school, I was like, I feel like this is what I want to do.
I love hearing that. Yeah, we definitely always encourage students to follow your passions, like we always say. So great to hear that both of you are so passionate about your majors. And we know that, especially today's day and age, there's so many options for post-secondary education. So I'd love to learn, why did both of you decide to come to Simon Fraser University specifically and the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences? Why do you want to start this one? We'll go back and forth.
Yeah, sure, no worries. So I did have some friends and family who were at SFU, and I just asked them about it, and I heard some really, really great things, especially about the psychology program. As Evan mentioned in the beginning, SFU is the top comprehensive university, and so I really was intrigued by that. And I heard great things about the professors and specifically the research opportunities that are in psychology specifically. And I know that that will be super helpful, not only with like higher education after my bachelor's degree, but in my career in general. And so I would like to have that under my belt. Um, And so I was drawn to that. And also for specifically for FASS, as Nava said, I'm also a humanities person, reading, writing, that's my thing. And so I wanted to be in a faculty where I could explore so many of my interests. As much as I knew I wanted to do psychology, I'm also really interested in sociology and philosophy, just like Nava, and cognitive science. And I know that FASS has the opportunity to mix and match. You can choose all of these different courses and put your interests together. And there's a lot of overlap and intersectionality and some crossover with these things. So I'm in the cognitive science class and I was like, oh, this is similar to what I was learning in psychology. Or I'm in sociology and I'm like, oh, I can see how this can be applicable in a psych course that I'm taking or in research that I'm going to do. And so just having that option to do mixing and matching with all of my interests, and they all contribute to like learning and contribute to my degree all in one faculty is something that I think is really, really good with FASS. And so I'm glad I chose this faculty.
Yeah, I think I share a lot of your thoughts, why, on kind
Right.
of how I ended up here. But so I was born and raised here in BC, and I kind of knew that for my undergraduate degree, at least, I was planning to stay in BC. It just made more sense for me because I had some kind of plans for what I would do afterwards, and it made logical sense. And then I remember looking through kind of a few different universities and looking at their websites. And I just remember thinking that the huge variety, as Y mentioned, of random courses that I'd never even heard of. I was like, I didn't even know world literature is its own thing. Aside from, I was like, all the literature will be in English, obviously, because that's the only thing that there is. But I quickly learned that is not the case. And yeah, I was amazed at the variety. And in particular, because I was looking at the English department, I really liked the way the courses were grouped. I think that you might often find courses grouped by like time periods of literature, in particular with English, but then here it was more grouped thematically, and that in particular stood out to me. So I thought the kind of unique way that the departments were structured here was really appealing. And I also had some friends who were at SFU and they were really happy. And I was happy to see some familiar faces, but I ended up making so many great, wonderful new friends here in all of these crazy departments. So it was a pretty easy decision.
Great to hear that both of you have really enjoyed your time so far at SFU. And it sounds like you've each been able to explore a variety of our departments and programs here. So I'm very curious, of all the things you've tried, what's been the favorite class or maybe just professor that you've had so far? Nava, do you want to start us off?
Ooh, so I am a double major and a minor, but my true love is philosophy. Unfortunately, I have a favorite child, and it is philosophy. I would say my favorite class that I've ever taken was a 400 level seminar that I took on what's called political epistemology, which that might not mean to anything to anyone here, no worries. But it was really interesting because it kind of was about stuff that is really relevant to like our current lives. Like it was about, political polarization and echo chambers and forming beliefs rationally. And it was taught by a professor who I had taken a few other courses with, and I've developed a really strong relationship with. And he then supervised my honors project and is now one of my letter writers for graduate school. So getting to take that seminar with him was really important for kind of my educational journey. And a lot of the research I did in that class ended up informing my honors paper. So I would say that was my favorite.
That sounds really cool. Congrats on the honors project. That's great to hear. Um, my favorite class so far has been a psych course as a psych major, and it's specifically because of the professor. Dr. Sherry Atwood is an amazing professor, and I love being in her classes. I've taken 3 courses with her now, and I like that she specifically teaches developmental psychology courses. So I've taken 250, 350, and 357, and those are courses that they look at human development from middle childhood to adolescence to adulthood. You learn about social development, emotional development, language, and all of that. Specifically, Psych 250 made me realize what demographic I'd like to work with in the future. Just learning about children and children development and how, our experiences in childhood contribute to everything that's going on in your current life. And I I really enjoyed Dr. Atwood's class. She's very funny, very smart, very engaging, and I love a prof that is open to loves doing open discussions in the classes, regardless of if it's 150 people in the class, 200 people, 30 people in the class. She loves to engage with her students. Will ask questions. Her assignments are always very engaging. Will get you to like go out and do something that not like your typical writing assignment. something that will get you to go out and do something practically and apply what you're learning into the class. And so I really enjoyed being in her classes, and yeah, it's like shaped what I want to specifically go into in the future. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of that.
That sounds amazing. We love definitely getting involved, always not just learning from a textbook, but actually being able to have those meaningful talks. I'm also curious because, of course, university is an amazing place for studying, but you spend a lot of time here. So it's important to keep active and to socialize. So can each of you maybe share one club or team that you've been a part of while here at SFU? Why?
Yeah, so in my second year, or my second year, I joined SFU SOCA as an international student. I'm from Kenya, and so I joined Students of Caribbean and African Ancestry, which is a Black student support group on campus. We host a lot of events and provide resources and support for students on campus, and we welcome students of all backgrounds and nationalities. I've had the pleasure of serving as an executive member, from events coordinator and just an executive as at large. And it's so rewarding to be a part of SOCA. I have met so many people. I think most of my friends and just most of the connections that I've made in general have been through that. So I would definitely recommend come and join SOCA, but also just be a part of whether it's a cultural club or a club that just has something that relates to you as an individual, something that you're passionate about, something that you feel is important to your identity. I would highly recommend doing that. SOCA has amazing events. We throw really good parties, good food, lots of fun music. So yeah, I think SOCA is the one place that I'm so glad that I found when I came to SFU campus, especially as an international student, just finding people who, whether they're from the same background or a similar background, people that I can relate to, and kind of find my home away from home in Canada. I really enjoy being a part of SOCA. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Kind of similarly, but a little bit different. The one thing that I think has been so wonderful, well, there's been so many things, but one of the things that sticks out to me is getting involved in what are called departmental student unions. That might not mean much to you guys right now. No worries, it's a weird phrase. When have you ever heard of a student union randomly? But basically, the faculties at SFU and the departments and the broader school. I won't get into this too much, but there are student groups that kind of represent the interests of undergraduate students at SFU and like organize events and provide resources. And so you'll find a big student union called the SFSS that, you know, does a lot of stuff. And then there's faculty student unions, which we have one called the Society of Arts and Social Sciences. And then also each department has one. And so I've been involved with both the English and philosophy student unions since my first or second year, and now I'm the president of the Philosophy Student Union. And in doing so, it's been such a rewarding experience. All these years, you get to not only meet other students in your program, but you also get to form kind of a stronger bond with your department and other faculty members in the department, because you get to work closely with them and kind of communicate to them about needs of undergraduate students or invite them to fun events and kind of gab with them a little bit casually. So it's been truly a very, very wonderful and like insightful experience. And I think it's taught me a lot of really useful skills about like event planning and holding meetings and communicating with lots of people and delegating tasks. So I definitely recommend checking out your department's student union.
Thanks so much. Yeah, definitely my own university experience. I was involved with something very similar, and they're just great places on campus. And with over 150 clubs/teams at SFU, no matter what your personal interest is, you'll sure to find someone who matches your interests and passions. And then before we let you two go, just one last quick question for all of our incoming new FASS students. What is one insider tip you'd share with someone new to FASS and SFU? Nava?
Ooh, insider tip. I would say one underrated spot that is like, it's kind of not underrated, but it kind of is for real. And that is Arts Central. I'm going to do a quick Arts Central plug, which is where so many wonderful people here work. It is kind of the hub for students in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. And so advisors and everyone are there, but also there's so much great study space. And I didn't used to study there until actually kind of recently, but it's making me really appreciate the space in a different way because I was used to like attending events there. But I think that spot is underrated because it's just so vibrant. Like there's so many happy, friendly people. And so you might strike up a conversation with someone you didn't expect, but also you can kind of face the wall and hide and work on your studies. And so it's just a great big space in a good spot in the school too. It's like they're right by the window. You can leave if you need to. So go check out Art Central if you didn't already know.
I 100% have to agree with Nav on that, given that I do work at Art Central. I'm currently on a co-op work term, and I work as a student engagement staff for FASS here in Art Central. Um, and yeah, my response is kind of on the similar lines to what Nava is saying. Art Central is an amazing space to be, and as Evan mentioned, I think this is something that I would definitely recommend to any incoming student who's joining SFU in FASS, joining the peer mentorship program. I have seen, because I work with the program and I work with the mentors that we have, and everybody always has something positive to say about it, whether you're a mentor or a mentee, just making those connections, especially as a new student. This is like the best, easiest, fastest way to kind of make those connections with people in your faculty. Getting connections to the departmental student unions, as Nava was talking about, is something that you can do through the peer mentorship program. All of the events that we host inside and out of Art Central, learning about what courses your friends would recommend, all of that is information and tips that you can get through the peer mentorship program. So shameless plug, yes, but I would definitely recommend joining the peer mentorship program. And then one last thing, just because this is, I think, is a killer tip, definitely speak to your advisors. Any chance that you get, 100% talk to your advisors. I see an academic, well, right now I'm on a work term. I haven't been studying, but whenever I am in a study semester, I always see my advisor at the beginning of the semester. Plan out your courses, ask questions. They're there to help you. It can be very, very overwhelming. And just a fun fact, I actually learned about my co-op job and like got to understand what it is, learn about co-op, learn that there's an opportunity for a co-op job in Art Central by going to see an academic advisor. So yeah, like take advantage of that. They're here to help you and they can show you just like how to your potential. You can learn your potential by seeing your academic advisor, seeing, okay, yeah, you can explore this, try this, you're good at this. And yeah, it can lead you to so many opportunities, and that's what happened to me. So I would definitely recommend Art Central is just the best place to be, personally.
Thank you both. Again, I did not pay either of them to say that. I am very glad to hear that both of you had such great experiences with Art Central, and I thank you both so much for being on our panel. If anyone has any further questions for Nava or Y, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and we should have a few minutes at the end to cover those. But just on the last couple of slides, moving forward, here's just some important dates for all of you. If you are joining late and you missed some info earlier on, or you didn't get a chance to jot these down while we were talking about them, these are some important reminders coming up. As Claudia mentioned, course enrollment appointments will begin November 3rd. You can find the specific dates for your enrollment should be communicated to you, or you could find it on your advising transcript as well. We want to make sure that you enroll as close to your appointment as possible to ensure that you get all those classes that you're hoping to take. As well, make sure that you have your computing ID set up. So if you're not familiar, the computing ID is what's going to help you set up your SFU email accounts and log into many of these important sites such as GoSFU. So make sure to check your email if you have not had the time to set up your computing ID. There's also a couple tuition and fees coming up. November 30th is for residence fees if you are planning to live on campus residence for the spring 2026 term. And at the bottom there, January 19th is the fees for tuition. As Claudia mentioned, you might be kept on hold from certain registrations if you do not make sure you pay the tuition fees, so please don't be late on that. And then those engagement dates, again, sorry, that's an incorrect date. It got changed. January 5th is the start of Spring Welcome Day, and it is also the start of your classes. So make sure you're on campus, check out all the cool things happening, stop by Art Central, because apparently it is very much the place to be, and make sure to get to your classes on time. With that, it does bring us to the end of our webinar here. I encourage you again to please drop any questions in the Q&A. If you do have any questions, however, after today's webinar, please feel free to email us and reach out. I'll be able to respond to any questions to our recruitment email there. That's fass_rec@sfu.ca. you can talk to me about anything covered in this presentation, or I can refer you to one of the amazing resources and colleagues that you've met here today. With that, we do have 5 to 10 minutes left over. So we'll open up the Q&A, but let me know, is there any Qs that need an A? Claudia or Y?
Yeah, there was a question. Is somebody allowed to change their program once they've selected it?
Great question. Claudia, I'll leave this to our academic advisor.
Sounds good. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, so you are totally allowed to change your program. So as we've mentioned a few times tonight, you are marked as an undeclared or intended plan. So that does not mean you have to pursue whatever is on your transcript at this moment. Maybe you're thinking about psychology and perhaps you take a psych course and, it isn't really for you. You can pursue another program. That's totally fine. If it's a program within FASS, happy to help you explore those options there. There are also opportunities where you may internally transfer to another faculty, such as science or business, perhaps. In those cases, we recommend you to reach out to the advisors in those faculties to internally transfer.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Claudia. Do we have another one, Y?
There was one more question. Somebody asked what financial aid options are available to them.
Good question. So through SFU, there are scholarships, bursaries, and awards. Unfortunately, some of them are specifically for direct from high school students or specifically for fall entry term. But one category that is available every term is bursaries. So that is for students who can demonstrate financial need. So the date for that, I can double check here. The date for applications for bursaries for the spring 2026 term opens December 22nd and will close January 16th. So make sure to check out our financial aid website to make sure you don't miss that opportunity. And you can also talk and contact our financial aid department to see if there are any other scholarships or awards you might qualify for. Great, thanks so much, Y. And then, I see, are there any part-time jobs available for students? Have Nava or Y, have either of you done a part-time job while on a study term at SFU?
I have, yeah. So first not at SFU, I worked as a barista for basically the entirety of my degree. I only recently left the cafe, but also I worked at the SFU bookstore for a while. And so there are a lot of different, like you can kind of join the temp pool sort of at SFU, and then they will kind of place you in various places where you're needed. I know the library hires students often as like library assistants. And yeah, so I worked at the bookstore, and we were kind of, there are some people who work there for longer, or you can kind of get hired for the busy periods, which are often the start of the term, or like graduation, convocation kind of times. So there are a lot of part-time jobs available. You just have to kind of seek them out and apply for them as you would another job. But the good thing is that they're very flexible with accounting for your school schedule. So you can, when you apply, you also send in like your courses. And so you won't be scheduled when you have class, which is good.
Perfect. Thanks so much for sharing that, Nava. I will add just one caveat. If you are an international student here on a study visa, please check the restrictions, as there are typically a certain number of hours that can be worked while on a study term. But still, even then, international students can still do those part-time jobs within those limitations. And if you're looking for full-time work throughout your university degree, like Y here on our call, you can also join our co-op program. So co-op or cooperative education allows you to have full terms where you're doing full-time paid work experiences. So that could be on campus, but also we have co-op jobs working with government, looking at public policy. We have co-op jobs working in industry, maybe looking at market analysis through economics, or even internationally. We have students who go abroad, whether that be teaching or research, plenty of cool opportunities. And co-op is available through every single one of our majors here at SFU. And I think we'll have time for one more question, Y.
Yeah, somebody wanted to know what exactly is included in the student fees.
Exactly. So when you are looking at your bill or tuition and fees on GoSFU, you'll see that there's tuition, but there's also student fees. Under student fees, that covers things that support the student unions, like Nava was talking about earlier. So those fundings go back to the students. whether that's running events, swag, free snacks, things like that. And also, some of the most notable things is the UTP. So the Universal Transit Pass allows students at SFU to get access to TransLink. So the BC public transit system, that's super helpful. I use it every day. That's including the SkyTrain and the bus system as well to get not just between our 3 campuses, but also on your own time for leisure, shopping, hanging out with friends. So again, these funds that are part of your student fees go back to students. Also includes things like our recreation and athletics. For example, Claudia here was part of one of our varsity athletics teams. So whether that be sports teams, intramurals, or just using the gymnasium spaces or athletics classes, those are some things that our student fees go towards. So you can see the breakdown on our website for further details, but those are just a few of the things that your student fees help go towards. But yeah, those are all great questions. Thank you all so much. Again, if you have questions after we close this webinar, please feel free to email me. I'd be happy to hear from any of you.